everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today we are attempting the ballpoint pen art challenge. I have these Papermate Inkjoy pens and the packet is open because I needed a pen for something, but anyways, we only need one of each color. So here we have 3 pens which are obviously in the normal black, red and blue, and I'm going to be drawing on some like regular cardstock. So when I'm feeling uninspired and have absolutely no idea what to draw, I go on Jazza's Arty Games app and I find a reference. So this is one of the references that I'm going to be doing today. So going into this challenge, I knew that I wanted to do absolutely no initial sketch. I just wanted to go straight in with the ballpoint pens and try to do it on a bit of a hard mode. I know I could have probably sketched things out and then, you know, like erased the sketch really lightly and then drawn over the top, but I felt like that was a little bit too easy and I wanted to put a bit of a challenge into this challenge. So going into it, the hair was probably one of my favorite parts to draw. I just really love drawing sketchy hair with ballpoint pens. I don't do it enough, but back in my old school days, millennia ago, I used to just draw with ballpoint pens in my sketchbooks and in my workbooks, and to be completely honest, I loved doing this because it was so easy and it's just what I had on hand. So one of the scariest parts was probably the faces of these characters or these people, because I didn't want to do it overly cartoony. I just felt like that I didn't really want to go in that direction. I wanted to try and see if I could do like a realistic or semi-realistic sort of portrait style with the ballpoint pens. I thought it would be a little bit more challenging and a little bit more interesting. So I just went very slowly and I just roughly sketched out the sort of main features of the face. I started with the nose because I felt like that was the sort of midpoint of the face. It was in the middle and it was a good starting point for me to go through. And the eyes were probably one of my favorite parts of drawing the actual face, mainly because I often do sketch eyes quite a lot. And as I said, back in my old school days when I used to doodle all over my sketchbooks, eyes was probably one of the things that I sketched the most. So it took me on a little bit of remembrance there. So now going on to the next character's face, and this was also quite scary because I had done alright on the first face, and if I stuffed this face up then it would ruin the whole drawing and I would not know how to fix it, obviously, because it is permanent. I could probably paint over, but that would be cheating because it's ballpoint pens only. And when I first sort of drew the mouth, I kind of felt like it was a little bit too small, but I just went back over and sort of like shrunk the chin in a little bit because I was quite lucky that there was a dark shadow underneath her face there, so that I could sort of just like draw over that and hide the original lines and make it a little bit more smaller. And yeah, it was quite fun just, you know, doing a little sketchy sort of style and just seeing how I could do and what could come of it. And to be completely honest, I actually really like this. It does have a few faults in it, but overall for a ballpoint pen challenge with no sketching other than obviously sketching with the pens, yeah, it's pretty good. So for our next challenge, I wanted to do a color one, which is a little bit of a challenge because depending what reference I got randomly, it would be kind of difficult to do with only black, blue and red. But I actually was quite lucky in this that I got a cat in a tree because I could use the red for the cat. Even though the cat is more orange colored, I still feel like it fit quite a bit, and it kind of, I don't know, it didn't ruin the fact of the drawing that it was a red cat, you know, it's not too outlandish. So obviously I started on the cat and I sketched mainly with red pens first because I felt like if I had any sort of little mistakes in there, I could sort of cover it up a little bit with the black pens later on. It was just a little bit more of a safer approach. Now after this, I went in with the tree that the cat was sort of climbing in, and this was actually quite fun because I really do enjoy drawing plants, and I have a lot of fun drawing like branches, like sort of going in different directions, and just seeing how the tree unfolds. So after this, I decided to go into the cat and just sketch a little bit more and fill in some areas where they needed sort of patterns and adding little bits of shading here and there with the red pen. It was really nice because I could get sort of a few different tonal variations in the cat with the red pen, and then after that I would actually go over the top and add more details with the black pen, and this would give me a little bit more shadow and a little bit more depth in the cat than just using the red. And yeah, I could sort of emphasize different areas like the eyes and the whiskers and just deepen some shadows like between its front legs. So after this, I wanted to go in and sketch in where the trees were, and obviously I didn't want to go too detailed because we are using pens here and that's quite difficult, and I wanted to sort of emphasize that sketchy feel. And I was really having a lot of fun just like scribbling in there and adding lots of different sort of scribbly textures and sketchy looks. I feel like it was really fun, and I was actually pretty pleased with how the sort of way the artwork turned out in the end. It was quite interesting actually drawing in ballpoint pen because it is permanent once you put it on the paper, so it really sort of forces you to think critically about where you're actually going to be doing each lines and try to like be a little bit more careful with them, but also it sort of forces you to end up with a more sort of fluid end result, a little bit more sketchy and loose, if that makes sense. And I actually really like that. So now we're coming to the end of this drawing, and I'm just deepening some of the shadows on the trees because I felt like adding in that blue background sort of took away a lot of the highlights, and it kind of made it all a little bit too mid-tone. So I wanted to deepen those shadows just to sort of emphasize different areas a little bit more. So here is the final results for the drawings. I actually really like the cat. I think it's quite interesting, and I really actually do like the sort of black and white portrait of the two girls. I just think it's really cute. Their faces aren't perfect, but to be completely honest, going into this without any sketching or any testing, I think it turned out pretty well, and the faces, I didn't ruin them and they don't look ridiculous, so I'm gonna say it's a win. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a fun one. I actually wasn't sure how the end results would go, but overall I'm quite happy, and I hope you enjoyed watching me draw them. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.